this is Vicki Jervickas, Director of Public Policy and Grassroots Engagement at the Greater Gainesville Chamber. And I'm delighted to welcome Diyonne McGraw today. She is our incumbent on the school board, and she is running for re-election for District 2 with the Alachua County School Board. So we're going to have a chance to talk with her a little bit and get to know her even better than we already do. And she'll tell us about her current interests and candidacy. Welcome, Diyonne.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Vicki, again for this opportunity. Love coming to talk to the chamber.
All right. Well, why don't you give us a brief introduction, and then I've got about 5 questions for you.
Okay. Well, again, I'm Diyonne McGraw, and I am your incumbent on the Alachua County School Board, and I'm seeking re-election for District 2. And so far, I have been extremely excited about in 18 months. I think I came in November of 2022, and I'm just excited about all of the great works that I will share a little bit later in the interview that I am doing. I think my actions, I have been action-oriented, very visible, and I think people know that my focus, I have stayed focused, and my focus is all about our children and making sure every single child that comes to Alachua County Public Schools has a pathway to success. So thank you again for allowing me to come this morning.
All right, terrific. Well, let's jump right in. My first question for you today is, what particular skills and experiences do you bring to this office?
You know what, Vicki, I have a wide variety of experiences. For one, graduated from the Florida Agricultural Mechanical University with my degree in business administration, but also I have a master's degree in varied exceptionalities, education rather, through Nova Southeastern University. Also as a former probation officer. Also, I run group homes for the developmental disabled, which deal with intensive behavior, people who've been in substance abuse, mental illness, GPS monitoring, verbal and physical aggression, and also a wide variety of other skill sets. I'm also a business owner. People can relate because I understand you also have to take care of the business at hand when it comes to the financial aspects of school finances and things of that nature. But also, I am your incumbent. And I have been serving. And so I already have 7.5 months from my first term. My second term, I'm at 18 months of serving. And in that short period of time, I have gotten so many things, great things done and accomplished in our district. And it just needs that time to continue. And I believe that the citizens of Alachua County, everywhere I go and everywhere I speak, people have said, you're doing an amazing job and currently as the chair of the school board. So I'm so grateful and humbled for that.
All right. Next question for you is, what would be your top priorities and projects if you are reelected?
Well, for one, I want to continue along the line of closing the achievement gap. As you know, in a short period of time, less than 2 years, we've had 3 schools to come out of turnaround, which is a school improvement. And that has not been done. We've had 7 schools that have been in F or D status and not doing extremely well. And we have in our other schools, our subgroups have been a major concern. But I would tell you, because that has not been done since 2016, where we've had schools come out of the turnaround status. And in talking with our state representatives, one of the things they have said that has changed is that we are changing culture and climate in these schools. People are beginning to work together, build those relationships, and that's important. We know and that's one of the things I decided as a school board member, and especially as chair, I'm going to be pushing that we begin to put systems and processes in place where we're working together. Those relationships are so important. But we've had 3 to come out of turnaround status. So that is extremely good. And we're knocking at the door of Lake Forest. We know Lake Forest and everybody's waiting. There's been a lot of tension on Lake Forest. And I believe that we're going to get Lake Forest out of the turnaround status, but we've got to continue to work, because now you have with the change the superintendent made in instruction and curriculum, you have a team of folks who are going out and actually supporting their administration and supporting teachers. And this board has supported teachers, and that's extremely important. So the achievement gap is going to continue, and also behavior. You know, behavior is, I've been leading a strong initiative as a board member. A lot of my colleagues have told me that you actually wrote a plan, enough is enough, on how we can address behavior. And you can see, and I take Lincoln Middle Schools as an example. We had a lot of complaints about behavior, but if you think about Lincoln Middle School in this 23-24 school year as compared to the 22-23 school year, it has been much quieter. And that's because you've had leadership, the right fit. I've always talked about it's so important in your administrative roles. That has decreased. And so we're continuing to work on that, because we know if we don't address behavior, that is a direct correlation and effect to your achievement gap. And then we have accomplished transportation. Transportation was one of the huge challenges, but Dr. Riles, who came in 8 months, turned it around, saved us $1 million, got a $1 million grant. He was given a Trailblazer Award. We have reduced all of our concerns and complaints that were coming in for the very families that we serve. And so we're just overjoyed that that has taken place. So we will continue to build that relationship. Because, you know, in the first 2 weeks of school, I visited 90% of our schools, took the choo-choo train around, and everybody loved it when you got over the intercom, to let people know that you care. And so those three things, the gap, the behavior, transportation, has been accomplished. And then, you know, my other heart that's dear to my heart is the career and technical education. And, you know, within a 90-day period, we were able in the fall to approve the barbering class that started in January. And so I'm just so excited about that, because that is huge for our children as well.
Very good. Okay. The next question has to do with, and you alluded to this a little bit, the Florida scorecard reports that third grade reading scores, meaning the percentage of Alachua County third graders actually reading on grade level, are at 49% and declining. Mm-hmm. What would you do to help reverse this trend?
The other thing we're doing, as I said before, we have a new instruction and curriculum team in place, and they have identified those areas as far as reading. We know reading is key. And with ESSER funds sunsetting, we know that this has been a focus. We're putting our finances into reading. Also, we are partnering with the county. We got a county-wide assessment that we as a board voted on to look at where we are. We know for years that this has been an issue, but it's been beginning to improve. And so we just got to stay at it. It takes time, but we're going to make sure our reading coaches, instructional coaches are being trained. One thing the previous superintendent did, they put $1 million into a training. So our staff, they're now getting trained. You now have people going in and monitoring you, looking at that. You have those TSAs, and those teachers on special assignment. A focus is on reading, because we know the gap had been 29-some% to 70-some% for a while. But as you can see, 3 of the schools have come out of turnaround. So we will continue to train professional development. We will continue to go into the schools, monitor, make sure this is happening. That's all you can do, because that has been part of the problem in the past. We were not focused. We were not going in. And sometimes you just have to monitor people, but it's how you go in. You're not coming in and say, oh, you're just doing a horrible job. We're coming in as a team. The staff in instruction and curriculum, they have decentralized themselves into the schools, and so that you can monitor what's happening and then offer that support that is needed. And so that's how you're going to continue to improve the reading skills. And also the other thing we've done, we reopened Duval, because you're going to be putting an emphasis on early childhood education. Because if you start with we're going to have VPK and pre-K ESE classes. And when you start early, by 3rd grade, we won't have this problem. But that had been an emphasis, because it was a big deficit to us when we lost Head Start. But now our focus has been, I've been a strong advocate for early childhood education, and it's happening. So with those things continuing to happen, you will see reading school skills improve.
Very good. Okay. Next question, another source of conflict, I would say. The next question is, zoning within our school district has been a divisive issue. What are your thoughts about it?
My thing is with zoning. Zoning, we know, has not been able to be done here in Alachua County for probably about 30 plus 40 years. However, part of the reason for that, and I've said this over and over again, you have to first look at getting good programming, improving your reading school skills, and having, if you have good reading programs, if you have all sorts of your magnet programs that are doing great. However, if they're not in all of your schools and giving all of your children an opportunity, and people are, and that's why you got to improve and get schools out of turnaround. Because if a school is an F or a D or an F, as a parent, we got to think about the layperson. We understand education as professionals in all of our roles, what should happen. But I'm not coming to a school that I consider failing as a parent. I'm just not. And so that's like hitting a brick wall every time. But if you work on your programming, rezoning won't be an issue. Just like now, for example, we have the whole magnet program, and I think some people are not for it, and some people are. However, we got to begin to do things different if we want to see change occur. We know change is never easy. However, there again, putting those systems in place, working together. But you're not going to change rezoning until you put good programming in all of your schools. If you do that, and parents say, well, now I have choices. Guess what? I won't have a problem so much rezoning. And how I know that, I talked to many of parents all across this county who said the same thing. But our schools are overcrowded, but also it's not all on the Alachua County Public Schools. You have to look at the city and the county. They're the ones who approve subdivisions. I'm in real estate as well. It's just like, for example, you got a new 4,500, subdivision that's coming out heading northwest, Jonesville toward Newberry. I mean, at some point, you got to look at, because when you talk about concurrency and all of those things, it's not all in Alachua County Public Schools. Are we going to say to our developers, are you able to give us 25 to 32 million to help build a new school? But if not, if it's through our strategy, my thing is, you got to put the right programmings. You got to improve your schools academically. If you do that, then you can tackle and address rezoning. But until then, that's going to be something that's been, like I tell you, a sore spot. You can do some spot rezoning if it's right and it's feasible. But all of your schools, especially in the elementary, you have 22 elementary schools, and all of them are overcrowded, except in East Gainesville. But when you're talking about the human person, they're not going to move their school to what they believe in their eyesight if it's something failing. And so that's why you have to continue to work on your programming, get all of your schools up to par, and then we can tackle rezoning much easier.
Very good. Okay. And then my last question for you is, what has prompted you to run for the school board seat?
Well, Vicki, Diyonne McGraw, since I came to Gainesville in 1992, the same thing I did in Tallahassee when I was a student at Florida A&M. I've always been around children. And because my mother, who worked for Department of Tennessee, which is like our DCF here, Children and Family Services, I was the only child. So we always had somebody at our home. My mother brought in, if they're for temporary placement and different things. And it made me care. My mother was in social work, so it was kind of instilled in me. And as I traveled along my life journey, I volunteered as far as Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I was the vice president of our sorority, and we did a lot of volunteering in the school systems, and I loved it when I was in Tallahassee. And so I continued with that. Matter of fact, I was a counselor when I was 14 years of age. That was one of my jobs. I was at a day camp program, and I worked with children even when I was 14, because I was always they said Diyonne's just a little old lady. Because I was always about my grandmother, because I was an only child. And I continued, and I've been volunteering and doing this since I was 22 and I'm now 55. So this was nothing new to me. But what I did see, if I wanted to make the changes that need to happen, then I needed to be at the table as far as the leadership role. And I am so glad that my journey has been a little bit different, as you know, but a lot of people have said now, I wish we would have just not bothered you because you've gotten so much done in a short period of time. Because, you know, my children are all grown and out of college, except I have the youngest one that's still at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. And so I have just been overjoyed with all that I have been able to accomplish. You got to think about it in a short period of time. Also, the community-wide CTE board I put together, where we've had a focus and to actually have, and I've done what I said I was going to do as a school board member. I haven't just come on the board and sat and talk, and we know there are problems, but I decided when I came in, my attitude was going to be on the solution side, beginning to get things done. So the implementation of the barber class, that was huge because that helps you, because now, you know, kids, it reduces your behavior issues and it helps with your absenteeism, because now kids have something to come to school that they look forward to. Also, I've implemented the multi-joint surrounding municipalities, city commission meetings. We have done city of Alachua, we've done the city of Hawthorne, because I wanted to make sure everybody felt included, and that's huge. And also, you know, I have traveled to the city commission meetings and to the county commission meetings, marketing what we do, because if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. But you have to give us credit that we are beginning to, this board, you've seen change come about in Alachua County public schools, and that's just huge. And so I'm just excited that I'm going to be continuing. I'm asking Alachua County voters to continue allowing me to continue the great work that I'm doing.
Terrific. Okay, well, these last couple of minutes are all for you. So if there was anything you wanted to touch on that you didn't get a chance to, now's your chance.
Well, and again, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. But one of the things I want our citizens to truly understand, um, you need leadership, continued leadership that you know who has a heart for the children. I don't do Facebook University. I stay focused. When I share information, I'm sharing what is actually happening in our schools. It's not about who likes who. And you know the climate that we're in now. We have people who would just not vote for someone because they don't like them. My thing is, I wasn't raised that way. If you and I may not sip coffee together every day, but if I'm the best person for the job, allow that to happen. We continue to deal, we have enough of that with our kids seeing. You know me, I do a lot of talking with the children going to the schools. And I told our students, when I asked our students when I was going around, what are the things you want to see change? And one of the things they said, we want to see adults behave better. A lot of kids tell me they want to see the adults behave better, because we know politics can get involved and we'll take somebody out of a seat, or we won't vote for a person because I just don't like a person. That's not what we need to do, because children don't ask to come into this world. And now we must be focused more, even so. Look at the gun violence that has happened. But every child also is not involved in gun violence. We have a lot of our children doing great things in our district. And so we got to make sure we don't take that off focus, but also we got to make sure we get to the basics of making sure every kid can read, making sure every kid has a pathway to success, whether that's going on to college or not. And one of the things that is beginning to happen in Alachua County Public Schools that was so important as well was the stability. Even when I met with the children, they wanted stability, because I tell people all the time, you had 8 superintendents in the last 10 years. You cannot make progress when you continue to change over and over every 15 years. Okay, then if you have people who are running for office, you have to really ask them and look at that. Why are they running for office? What are they trying to do? How are they trying to make a difference? Well, Diyonne McGraw has done that. And again, implementing some of the CTE that's happening now, being a strong advocate for early childhood education. You know, 3 schools out of turnaround in a short period of time. Transportation is getting better. We all know the teachers, we gave one, and I supported teachers getting a raise. That's extremely important. That's key because we need our teachers. And we know it's hard, the climate that we live in, but we also know people saw that I came in and one of the first things I addressed was the behavior, which I continue to push, and I'm going to continue to push, Vicki, because people need to be safe, and they need to be safe when they come into our schools. Our children need to be safe. Parents want their kids to be safe. And it's not about when you talk about the behavior to scare people. It's just that we've also implemented calm rooms in our schools because we're trying to help. We know that mental health, because even though we're past COVID, we're not over COVID. We still had a lot of things, even with the adults. COVID was like a pandemic. It is a pandemic that took a lot of people out, but also people are still struggling even physically from COVID. But you know, people are really struggling mentally, and that included our children and our families that we serve. And so I'm just so overjoyed that I have had the opportunity to come back and voted in again by the people to say, this is who we want on our school board. And I believe in my heart of hearts that our people, our citizens of Alachua County, want to continue to see my leadership in this role. And I'm so grateful to be serving as chair until, November is when, if I'm afforded the opportunity, we'll decide who will be our next chair. But I'm just so grateful for the opportunity and the work that I have done. And I just need to continue along the pathway of doing great work. And as my campaign slogan says, people know that I'm truly committed and I have the courage to lead as well.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you, Diyonne. It's great to talk to you as always. I want to remind everyone, as Diyonne said, to be able to pick our leadership, you need to participate in the process. At the Greater Gainesville Chamber, we think it's important for everyone to make their voice heard. And one of the best ways we have to do that is to get out and vote. Reminder that voting day is Tuesday, August 20th. So make sure you've had that in red on your calendar.
Yes,
Thanks
right.
again, Diyonne. I appreciate
Thank you,
you
Vicki.
taking the time with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye
Take
now.
care. Bye-bye.